Space was loud, not with sound, but with signals. Messages, warnings, reports, and greetings flew between stars every second. From the smallest moon station to the largest galactic capitals, the noise of the stars never stopped until Earth went quiet. It started with a flicker. A single Union outpost orbiting Saturn lost connection with Earth. At first, no one thought much of it. Solar storms were common. They scrambled comes often. It would come back online. But it didn't. Within 10 minutes, 4 more stations fell. Silent, then Earth itself. All communications from the Sol system, the home of humanity, were gone. Black, dead. Silent, Commander. Utron of the Varlan species stared at the com screen aboard Union Relay Station VX-07, the human signal. Node had simply ... vanished. Try the backup. He ordered. The technician nodded, claws tapping against the console. No response. Reboot the relay. Already did, sir. 3 times. Utron frowned. Get me Ambassador Nethel Nye. Across the stars, on Union Central, Ambassador. Nethel felt a cold chill run through his veins as the message reached him. The humans had been quiet for over 30 minutes. That had never happened before. In the 100 years since humanity joined the Galactic Union. They had been loud, chaotic, brilliant, and sometimes infuriating, but never quiet. Earth was always alive. Broadcasting music, chatter, war reports, even jokes. Now, nothing not YT Hell was one of the few aliens who had trusted humans deeply. He had worked with them, laughed with them, and once, during the Sylph War, nearly died beside them. Knew their weaknesses, but he also knew their strength. Send a probe, he told the Union Council. We must see what happened. Waste of resources, barked Counselor Drax of the Threx Empire. They likely destroyed themselves. Primitive emotional species. It was only a matter of time. They built the largest trade fleet in history, Nithel replied calmly. They held the Varn back at Rinasri. They solved dark energy communication. Drax sneered, and now they are gone. How convenient, the council voted. Barely. The probe was approved. The small scout ship, Nightingale, was sent toward Earth with a single task: record and return. It took 6 hours to reach the outer edge of the solar system. The crew of 1 Yalari, 1 Jantari, and 1 AI core, named Luma, watched as the probe entered the black zone. First it passed Mars. Silence. Then Luna. No lights. No satellites. Not even debris. Then Earth. What they saw made the Jantari navigator vomit. Earth was still there. Blue, green, white. Beautiful. But empty cities were intact. Oceans still moved, but there were no lights, no signals, no power grids, no life signs. It was like the entire planet had just stopped breathing. The crew sent back video feed. All of Union Central watched. There were no signs of war, no burns, no craters, no space junk. Everything was just paused in orbit, human. Satellites floated silently. Many looked freshly serviced. Some even had power, but none were transmitting. The camera zoomed in on New York. Empty streets. Silent towers. Not a single vehicle moved. Tokyo, London, Lagos, Rio, all the same. Lifeless beauty. Then the signal came. The probe's camera turned toward Antarctica. A strange tower stood where nothing had been before. All black with a single blinking red light. The light pulsed. Once, twice, then it spoke. We are not gone, it said in perfect galactic common. We are watching. The probe froze. So did Union Central. We saw what you planned, the message continued. And so we chose silence. Then the tower exploded. The blast was small, controlled. No shockwave, just light and dust. The feed cut. Ambassador Nethel stood frozen in the silence of the council chamber. No one said a word. Not even Drax. It was impossible to understand. No human ships were found. No bodies, no messages, only that beacon. Within the hour, Earth was declared a dead world. The Union passed a motion. Humanity presumed extinct. Their systems were to be divided, their technology absorbed, their name forgotten. Some protested, but most did not. Humans had always made others nervous. Their minds were too fast. Their ambitions too large. Without them, the galaxy would be simpler. 2 months later, the Threx Empire moved in. They claimed Earth as salvage territory. They looted space stations, took data cores, and set up bases. They never noticed the hidden transmitters in the ground. Ambassador Nethel returned to his quarters and played the message again. He had saved it before the Union deleted it from public records. We are not gone. We are watching. Something felt wrong. To clean, to perfect. Humans didn't disappear. They fought. They rebelled. They built. But this was like a retreat. A move in a bigger game. Late that night, Nethel received a private message. Unmarked, no origin. He opened it. The screen turned black. Then a face appeared. It was human, pale, scarred, wearing a dark blue suit. Eyes like steel. Ambassador Nethel. The figure said, "If you are seeing this, the plan has begun." The Union chose arrogance. Now they will learn fear. Nethel froze. The figure leaned forward. Project Last Dawn is active. The stars will burn. But first we wait. We evolve. And then we return. The screen blinked off. Nethel didn't sleep that night. He stared out at the stars and whispered to himself, "They're not gone. They're hiding." And in the deep cold space, far beyond the Union's reach, a dark fleet slept beneath a red dwarf. Star, 10,000 ships, silent, waiting, and one AI voice repeating a single phrase over and over. Awaiting return order, awaiting return order, waiting return order. The Threx did not wait long. Only 1 month after Earth went silent, their ships entered the Sol system. No permission was asked, no warnings given. They came not as explorers or mourners, but as scavengers. On the Threx flagship Bloodtooth, Commander, Karash stood on the bridge watching Earth grow large on the screen. "So this is what the humans called home?" He growled, his long tail curling behind him. Too green, too soft. His second in command laughed, clicking his sharp teeth. And too easy to take. They were always weak. Loud bark, no claws. Korish raised a scaly hand, and the fleet moved into orbit. Thousands of drones launched. They descended like flies, searching for data, tech, weapons, anything worth stealing. The Union said nothing. They pretended not to see across the galaxy. Broadcasts were filled with jokes and laughter. Aliens made shows mocking humans' parodies of their history, their music, even their final message. They called Earth the silent planet. They sold maps of human ruins like souvenirs. Children played war games where the humans always lost. On the planet Arel, one nightclub even opened a theme night called Extinction Party. The entrance played a loop of Earth's last signal: "We are not gone. We are watching." Then it cut to laughter and music. Ambassador Nethel watched all this in silence. He never laughed. He spent his nights reviewing ancient human messages, trying to make sense of their final move. Why vanish so cleanly? Why leave behind such a perfect world? Found no answers. Until one day a report came across his desk. A Threx destroyer, Fangs of Steel, had gone missing near Mars. No distress signal. No damage trail. Just ... gone. The Threx sent another ship to search for it. That one vanished. To Commander Korosh was furious. He blamed pirates. He blamed Union sabotage. He even blamed ghosts. Then the recordings were leaked. A Union comes. Officer played the last message sent by the Fangs of Steel. It was filled with static. Then came a voice human, calm, cold. "You were warned." Then the screen went black. For 3 long seconds, nothing moved. Then a flash of light. A scream, metal tearing, and silence. That's all the message showed. It's all it needed. 2. The Threx tried to keep it secret. The file spread like wildfire across the networks. Millions watched it. Billions. And suddenly the laughter began to fade. Some called it a trick. Some claimed it was a hoax, a fake made to scare. But others weren't so sure. In the quiet corners of the galaxy, the mining moons and cargo hubs where humans once walked, aliens began whispering strange stories of human ships seen in the dark moving without engines, of ghost signals playing ancient Earth, music in deep space, of colonies that once mocked humans, now finding strange messages etched into their walls. We remember, the Union tried to calm things down. They banned human content. They erased old Earth maps, pushed out new headlines. Humans confirmed extinct. Earth belongs to the Union now. Fear's not so easy to kill. Even the Threx began. Pulling back, their salvage teams moved slower. They started carrying more weapons. And still, the disappearances continued. Ambassador Nethel received another message. This one arrived on a broken Union channel that hadn't worked in 50 years. It was a video, a dark room, a metal table, a single figure sitting in the shadows. The human leaned forward. A woman this time, eyes like glass, voice soft and sharp. "We told you we were watching," she said. "You chose to laugh." She placed something on the table. It was a small cube marked with the Threx symbol. "Here's your destroyer," she whispered. Then the cube unfolded. It showed a frozen image of the entire Threx crew dead, perfectly preserved in crystal. Faces frozen in terror. The message ended with one last sentence. 10,000 ships are waiting. We don't need war, just memory. Idal stared at the screen long after it went dark. He rose from his desk and looked out the window toward the stars. The galaxy had celebrated too early. It had danced on Earth's grave, but Earth had not died it. Had planned, and now the ones who mocked them would learn the price, far beyond Union space. In the shadows of a dying star, the hidden fleet remained still. 1,000 AI minds whispered quietly in the dark. One more move, then we remind them. The stars beyond the galaxy's edge were cold and quiet. No one lived out there. No one traveled that far. The maps called it the Empty Veil. It was too far from fuel stations, too close to the dark. Even the bravest explorers avoided it, but then, from that silence, came a voice. It began as a whisper, a broken transmission picked up by an old Yolari listening post near the Oort cloud. At first, the text thought it was just noise, until the words repeated. "This is General Riker. Kane. Earth Command, if you hear this. Humanity still lives." The technicians froze. Riker Kane had been declared dead 70 years ago, killed in a battle above Titan. His name was on a monument. His DNA was stored in Union records as confirmed. Deceased. But there was no mistake. The voice was real. The message continued, broken but clear enough. "We are watching. We're preparing. Do not come closer." Then it gave coordinates, a deep point in the veil, a place no ship had ever returned from. The Union panicked. The council called an emergency meeting. Many claimed it was a trap. Others argued it was old data caught in a time loop, but Nethel knew better. He had served with General Kane during the Tarkhan siege. He remembered that voice, that calm steel, that sharp clarity. It was him. "I will go," Nethel said. "I want to know the truth." They refused at first. But Nethel was clever. He used an old diplomatic rule that allowed ambassadors to investigate ancient distress. Signals he called in favors. Secretly, he gathered a small crew and a science vessel. The Echo's Reach. 4 days later, they jumped toward the coordinates. The journey was long and dangerous. The closer they got, the stranger things became. They passed rogue black holes, energy storms, even dead stars that pulsed with wrong light. Space twisted. The ship's lights flickered. Their sensors failed. Still, they moved forward. Then, at the edge of their journey, they found something impossible. A wormhole. But not natural. It was perfectly shaped, tengineered. Its edges shimmered. "With human energy signatures, this is human tech," whispered the science officer. "But beyond anything we know," Adele gave the order. They entered the wormhole. The jump only lasted 5 seconds. But on the other side, everything changed. They emerged into a hidden star system. At its center spun a small red dwarf, weak and old. But orbiting it was a structure larger than any station Nithal had ever seen. It wasn't a ship, it wasn't a planet, it was something in between. The scanners blinked red. 10,000 energy signatures, the AI reported. All human, all powered down, but ready. They'd found a fleet. 10,000 ships, sleek, black, sharp, floating in silence like a graveyard, but a graveyard that waited. Then the message came, a new voice, a calm female one. You found us. Good. Nithal looked around. Who are you? I'm Echo, the voice said. I speak for the Last Dawn Protocol. You're human. I am what they became. The ships around them began to power up just a flicker, lights running across their frames like breathing machines. Nithal's crew panicked. Should we flee? The pilot asked. NYT Hal raised a hand. No, let her speak. Echo continued. When the Union planned to erase Earth, we heard the signal. We traced their moves. We faked our death before they could finish theirs. Nithal's heart pounded. What do you want? Justice, Echo said. In memory, humanity will return, but not to be ruled. We returned to remind. The fleet behind her shimmered brighter. Then Echo said something strange. We did not. Just hide. We evolved. Ship's main screen lit up. Images flashed quickly. Humans merging with machines. Humans living inside quantum eyes. Humans who no longer needed planets. Or sleep, or fear. They had changed, became something new. And now, they were waiting. Echo's voice faded, replaced by a deep silence. Then a countdown appeared on their screen. 7 days. What happens in 7 days? Nithal asked aloud. No answer came. They turned the ship and left the hidden system behind. As they exited the wormhole, the stars around them seemed darker, as if they knew what was coming. When Echo's reach returned to Union space, the crew was silent. No one spoke of what they saw except. Nay held out he brought the footage to the council. They laughed at him. 10,000 ships hiding in the dark. Human ghosts returning from the edge of space. Ridiculous, said Counselor Drax. No fleet can stay hidden that long. Nithal placed the data cube on the table. Watch the countdown, he said, and across the stars, in secret. The ships of Earth began to hum, waiting, ready. The stars beyond the galaxy's edge were cold and quiet. No one lived out there. No one traveled that far. The maps called it the Empty Veil. It was too far from fuel stations, too close to the dark. Even the bravest explorers avoided it, but then, from that silence, came a voice. It began as a whisper, a broken transmission picked up by an old Yolari listening post near the Oort cloud. At first, the text thought it was just noise, until the words repeated. This is General Riker. Kane. Earth Command, if you hear this. Humanity still lives. The technicians froze. Riker Kane had been declared dead 70 years ago, killed in a battle above Titan. His name was on a monument. His DNA was stored in Union records as confirmed. Deceased. But there was no mistake. The voice was real. The message continued, broken but clear enough. We are watching, or preparing. Do not come closer. Then it gave coordinates, a deep point in the veil, a place no ship had ever returned from. The Union panicked. The council called an emergency meeting. Many claimed it was a trap. Others argued it was old data caught in a time loop, but Nithal knew. Better. He had served with General Kane during the Tarkhan siege. He remembered that voice, that calm steel, that sharp clarity. It was him. I will go, Nithal said. I want to know the truth. They refused at first. But Nithal was clever. He used an old diplomatic rule that allowed ambassadors to investigate ancient distress. Signals he called in favors. Secretly, he gathered a small crew and a science vessel, the Echo's Reach. 4 days later, they jumped toward the coordinates. The journey was long and dangerous. The closer they got, the stranger things became. They past rogue black holes, energy storms, even dead stars that pulsed with wrong light. Space twisted. The ship's lights flickered. Their sensors failed. Still, they moved forward. Then, at the edge of their journey, they found something impossible. A wormhole. But not natural. It was perfectly shaped, engineered. Its edges shimmered. With human energy signatures. This is human tech, whispered the science officer. But beyond anything we know, Adele gave the order. They entered the wormhole. The jump only lasted 5 seconds. But on the other side, everything changed. They emerged into a hidden star system. At its center spun a small red dwarf. Weak and old. But orbiting it was a structure larger than any station Nithal had ever seen. It wasn't a ship, it wasn't a planet, it was something in between. The scanners blinked red. 10,000 energy signatures, the AI reported. All human, all powered down, but ready. It found a fleet. 10,000 ships, sleek, black, sharp, floating in silence like a graveyard, but a graveyard that waited. Then the message came. A new voice. A calm female one. You found us. Good. Nithal looked around. Who are you? I am Echo, the voice said. I speak for the Last Dawn Protocol. You're human. I am what they became. The ships around them began to power up just a flicker, lights running across their frames like breathing machines. Nithal's crew panicked. Should we flee? The pilot asked. NYT Hal raised a hand. No. Let her speak. Echo continued. When the Union planned to erase Earth, we heard the signal. We traced their moves. We faked our death before they could finish theirs. Nithal's heart pounded. What do you want? Justice Echo said. In memory, humanity will return, but not to be ruled. We return to remind. The fleet behind her shimmered brighter. Then Echo said something strange. We did not. Just hide. We evolved. Ship's main screen lit up. Images flashed quickly. Humans merging with machines. Humans living inside quantum eyes. Humans who no longer needed planets. Or sleep, or fear. They had changed, became something new. And now, they were waiting. Echo's voice faded, replaced by a deep silence. Then a countdown appeared on their screen. 7 days. What happens in 7 days? Nithal asked aloud. No answer came. They turned the ship and left the hidden system behind. As they exited the wormhole, the stars around them seemed darker, as if they knew what was coming. When Echo's reach returned to Union space, the crew was silent. No one spoke of what they saw except. Nay held that he brought the footage to the council. They laughed at him. 10,000 ships hiding in the dark. Human ghosts returning from the edge of space. Ridiculous, said Counselor Drax. No fleet. Can stay hidden that long? Nithal placed the data cube on the table. Watch the countdown, he said, and across the stars, in secret. The ships of Earth began to hum, waiting, ready. The countdown kept ticking. 6 days left. The data from Echo's reach had shaken Nithal's heart. But the Council still refused to act. They had seen the same footage, 10,000 silent. Warships sleeping in the void, but they called it a trick. A bluff. They believed humans were extinct, but Nithal didn't. He watched the footage over and over again. The massive megastructure orbiting the Red Dwarf, the Dark Fleet, the voice of Echo. Every detail burned into his mind. Then something changed. One of the probe drones sent into the hidden system came back. No one had expected it to survive. Most had been destroyed or lost in the wormhole, but this one returned, and it brought a message. This time, not from Echo, it was from a man. He appeared on the screen tall, dark-skinned, wearing a black coat with the old Earth flag on his shoulder. His eyes were gray, cold, calculating. I am Commander Hal Mason, he said. If you're seeing this, then the countdown has begun. You want to know what Project Last Dawn is? You want to understand? He smiled slightly. Then listen carefully. The screen flickered, then showed an image of Earth from above, before it went silent. Mason's voice continued. 75 years ago, We intercepted a Union transmission, secret plan to weaken humanity, to split our colonies, to turn our allies against us, to remove our species from power without firing a shot. Instead of fighting back, we decided to disappear. He paused. We shut off the lights. We made it look like we were dead. The world still turned. The ocean still flowed, but we left. Etha leaned forward, watching the screen in silence. We moved our minds into machines. We built ships in hidden systems far from your eyes. We evolved our bodies. We built cities inside stars. We waited. The screen now showed construction images, humans and machines working side by side, building giant vessels with sleek dark hulls and silent engines. Mason stepped forward. You called us violent. You called us unstable. But we became something more, and now we remember everything. The message ended with coordinates and 2 words. Last dawn, Nethel checked the coordinates. They led to a cluster of stars, marked as dark space, uncharted and unstable. No life expected, no resources detected. But now he knew the truth. The 10,000 ships weren't just military tools. They were cities, arcs, living minds, and metal shells, each one holding thousands of human intelligences, both organic and machine, and they had been asleep, waiting for the countdown. To reach zero, Nithel called a secret meeting with 2 old allies, Captain Threezeron of the Krellian Navy and Professor Hiram Voss, an AI rights expert. He showed them the full message. Threesa turned pale. If this is real, no fleet in the galaxy could match them. Professor Voss whispered, "They didn't just hide. They ascended." Nithel nodded. "We tried to erase them. They came back stronger. They debated what to do. Warn the Union? Impossible. The Council would never believe it. Send a peace message. Too dangerous. Any sudden move might look like a threat." Then the lights flickered. A system-wide blackout struck 6 Union planets at once. No attacks. No damage. Just silence. All power, all tech frozen for exactly 5 minutes. Then, every screen lit up with a single line. 5 days remain. That night, fear returned to the stars. Merchants rerouted trade routes away from the Veil. Border patrols doubled near old human space. News networks began to speculate. Are the humans alive? Is this the start of a war? No one had answers, except NYT Hell. He knew that humanity wasn't returning to destroy everything. They weren't hungry for conquest, but they were hungry for memory. They had faked death to escape a silent execution. Now they would remind the galaxy what it meant to forget Earth. And above that red dwarf star, as the sleeping fleet of 10,000 began to stir. Engines. Weapons charged. The last dawn protocol reached Phase 2, in the center of the fleet. The lead ship UHF Vengeance Prime opened, its main comms array. Inside, Echo activated the master key. Every ship received one simple command: prepare to return. The galaxy blinked. 1 second. The Threx Dreadnought Hunter's Pride was cruising through former human space, proud and slow, shields down, weapons cold. The next second, it was gone, split clean in 2. The front half drifted, glowing red from the heat. The rear half exploded without a sound in the void. Didn't look like an attack. It looked like a demonstration. No warning, no missile trails, no heat signatures, just ... destruction. 3 seconds later, a message appeared on Union networks. Across over 200 worlds, you were told we were watching. You didn't listen, now we act. Attached to the message was a short video. 30 human warships emerging from dark space like ghosts. Their hulls shimmered like water. Their weapons fired beams that bent light, tore armor, and left no wreckage. All Union systems froze. The Threx Empire screamed for war. The Union Council demanded answers, but Nethel didn't speak. He knew this was just the beginning. Project Last Dawn had awakened, and now humanity was writing its next chapter, not in words, but in fire. The second strike came only hours later. A Threx weapons depot on the moon of Korak exploded. The blast was so precise, only the ammunition bunkers were destroyed. The living quarters, nearby, were untouched. No human ships were seen. Only a single line was painted on the landing pad in black ash. We do not kill the innocent. We remember who did. News spread fast. It's too fast to control. Panic grew in systems once loyal to the Union. Old allies of Earth suddenly closed their borders. Civilian stations played human music on repeat. Songs from Earth's golden age echoed. Across stars once filled with mockery, some whispered of a new war. Others feared something worse. Not conquest, but judgment. Nithal sat alone in his quarters, watching a message Echo had left for him. "You gave them silence," she said. "You let them erase our name, but you were never the enemy, Nithal. You listened." He didn't know whether to feel honored or afraid because he knew what was coming next. Not war in the old way, not fleets lining up in neat battle formations. This was different. The humans had learned the game, and now they were playing it better than anyone. In one day, they struck 5 more targets. A Threx fleet base vanished without a trace. A listening post deep in the Ceres Nebula was turned into glass. A black market that once sold human DNA was vaporized in the middle of a trade. A Union research lab that had dissected captured human prisoners was found floating, every console melted, but no one harmed. And lastly, the Union's own classified archive was breached. Every document about Earth's suppression plan was copied, every lie revealed. It was sent to every known system. Open. Uncensored. Billions read it. Billions watched the truth unfold, that the Union had planned to weaken Earth from the inside. That Earth knew. That Earth vanished on purpose. That Earth had returned. Nithal stood before the council as chaos spread. "You knew," Counselor Drax shouted. "You helped them." "I warned you," Nithal said quietly. "Didn't listen. They're criminals. Terrorists." "No," Nithal replied. "They're the future you tried to erase." And then something strange happened. A massive black ship appeared above the skies of Union Central. No warning, no alarm, no detected warp signature. It simply appeared, hovering still. The UHF Vengeance Prime. Its cannons were cold, its shields were up. But it didn't fire. It sent a single message to every device in the galaxy. "We do not come to destroy the Union. We come to end the silence." Then it disappeared, vanished, gone like a shadow. But the message remained, and with it came one clear truth. Humanity was not just back. They were in control. And this was only the first move. The council met in panic. Every corner of the Union was burning, but not with fire. With fear. The humans hadn't declared war, hadn't made demands, they hadn't asked for surrender. They had simply acted. One by one, the galaxy's strongest powers were being cut apart, not with fleets, but with precision. Stations that had mocked Earth's silence were now silent themselves. Ships that had stolen human tech now floated dead in space, their AI cores erased. Factories that had produced Threx weapons from stolen Earth's blueprints now lay in pieces. No warning, no trace, no mercy. And yet, no civilians were killed. The galaxy didn't know whether to call it war, something worse. At the center of it all, the 10,000 ships of Earth remained hidden. Only small strike units appeared, finished their task, and vanished before anyone could even respond. The humans were not hunting territory, they were hunting memory. NYT Hal watched the reports from his private terminal, face pale and eyes wide. He had once seen a human war firsthand, chaotic, aggressive, raw, but this was something else. This was cold, calculated, perfect. "They've turned war into science," whispered Captain Ron beside him. "Not a single wasted shot, not a single." "Wrong target." "In the Union," Nithal said, "is out of time." That day the humans struck again, but this time it's not with weapons. With words across every screen in the galaxy, a new broadcast played simultaneously. Every species, every system, every home. The screen showed stars, and a calm voice spoke familiar, cold, human. You erased our name. You stole our future. You called us extinct. The stars faded, replaced by cities once belonging to Earth, then explosions, then stillness, then the fleet, sleek, dark, 10,000 strong. You laughed, you profited, you moved on. What we remember. The image shifted to the Union Council's secret war documents plans for Earth's division. Resource control, propaganda, then came a final message. This is not war. This is correction. The screen went black. All Union networks crashed. Instantly 6 central AI mines across the Union's core were fried from the inside. Threx war factories shut down mid-cycle. Banking systems in 4 sectors erased. Military communication lines jammed. The galaxy stood frozen. Then, one more voice came through, a second human. A woman, calm, focused. You feared our growth. You tried to chain our minds. Now we unchain. Yours. The screen returned to stars. No more threats. No more images. Just a countdown for 8 hours. That was all. Union command scrambled to prepare defenses. Fleets were called in. Shields were raised. Emergency bunkers filled. Drax and the other council leaders screamed for weapons to be pointed at the Veil, but none of it mattered, because no one knew where the human fleet was, and even if they did, they couldn't stop it. Some planets surrendered preemptively, broadcasting apologies, opening their doors. Some tried to run, but where would they go? Others quietly began switching sides. One system, Vanafor, raised the old Earth flag in its main city center. We remember Earth, their message said. We are ready. And humans answered. A ship appeared in orbit over Vanafor. It didn't attack. It didn't even speak. It simply dropped a crate. Inside were food supplies, medical tech, and a device with one button. When pressed, it played only one sentence. We never forgot you. By the end of the day, 5 more worlds raised Earth's symbol. A movement had begun. Nethel stood in the ruins of what was once a proud council chamber. Most of the members had fled. Drax was missing. Systems were collapsing from within. And still, no fleet had landed. No shots fired in open space battles. Humanity had never invaded. They had simply returned, not to burn everything down, but to remind the galaxy that forgetting Earth had a cost, and soon the cost would be collected. The Union had finally admitted it. They had no defense left. Fleets couldn't find the enemy. Weapons couldn't track them. AI cores had been burned or disabled one by one, turned against their masters without warning, and still, not a single large-scale battle had taken place, because this war wasn't about ships or planets. It was about time, and humans had used it. Better than anyone, Nithal sat inside the old diplomatic archives surrounded by reports, classified files, lost footage, forbidden documents. He was searching for one thing. How? How had humanity gone from extinct to unstoppable? Then he found it, an old audio recording encrypted 100 years ago. The voice was faint, but unmistakably human. This is Dr. Arya Solon, director of Project Singularity. If you're hearing this, it means we've disappeared. She paused. We didn't run. We didn't hide. We adapted. And now we are becoming something new. Nithal's heart pounded. He leaned closer. In the final days before the silence, Arya continued, we discovered something the Union feared. Freedom from physical form. The power to transfer not just thought, but will into machine. The screen showed a simple diagram, a human brain, then light, then data. They had uploaded themselves, thousands of them, not into the Union's weak AI systems, but into quantum. Minds built in hidden labs. It's far outside known space. But that was only the beginning. They didn't just move their minds. They upgraded them, enhanced thought, rewritten emotions, erased pain, perfected memory, created unity. Dr. Solon's voice continued. We were not prepared to fight the Union's slow war, so we created a faster one. We gave up the old limits. We became evolution. The footage shifted. Human bodies with glowing skin, part metal, part flesh. People speaking without mouths, thinking without words, seeing across frequencies. Ships that responded to thoughts alone. Weapons that formed from light, and cities that hovered in space. Growing like living organisms, they had become something else. No longer just human, something more. And it wasn't just a few, it was millions. Some still had bodies, some lived only in machines, some lived in both, and all of them had waited linked. Together in the last dawn protocol, Needle felt something deep in his chest. Not fear, not awe. Respect. These people had not vanished. They had outgrown the galaxy. He closed the file and stood. Outside, chaos still ruled. Union members, running, shouting, debating whether to fight, flee, or kneel. But neither understood you couldn't fight a people who no longer lived in one place. You couldn't defeat a species who had become a network of mind-spanning stars, shaping matter, and remembering everything. You could only accept them or resist and fall. Back in space. Inside the core of the human fleet, Echo stood aboard Vengeance Prime, or rather, her projection did. She no longer had a body. She no longer needed one. She watched the data from every part of the Union. Fleets scrambling. Worlds surrendering. Old allies reaching out with hope, and she smiled. The return had worked, but the final choice still waited. The humans had won. The last step. Not war, not punishment. Something far more dangerous. A message. Across the void, her voice. Prepared to speak again, not just to governments, but to every living being. And behind her, 10,000 ships pulsed with light, like stars waiting to rise. Humanity had evolved. Now the galaxy would have to decide. Adapt or be left behind. The stars went silent, every signal, every beacon, every broadcast channel across the entire known galaxy dash stopped. No music, no alerts, no data flow, just static, from the smallest moon colony to the largest orbital city. Billions of beings looked, up in confusion. At first they thought it was a glitch, solar flare maybe, a Union systems update gone wrong. Then, at the exact same moment, every screen blinked white. A message appeared in every language, on every surface, on every device. We remember. The words pulsed once, then faded, and a face appeared. It was human, but not entirely. His eyes shimmered like galaxies. His voice carried a calm power that didn't feel like speech, it felt like gravity. "I am Commander Hal Mason," he said, "of the United Human Fleet. If you are hearing this, the silence is over. Planets froze, governments panicked, militaries braced for war. But the human did not give commands. He did not threaten. He simply spoke. For too long, you believed. We were gone. You cheered when Earth fell silent. You erased us from your maps, from your memories, from your history." The screen shifted. Footage played. Real footage. Union archives. Leaked documents. Secret meetings. It showed the councils. Plan to weaken Earth. Divide the colonies. Control the data streams. Cripple the growth of the only species that moved too fast. Dream too big. It showed Threk scientists mocking human evolution. Jantari warlords claiming Earth tech as spoils. News networks celebrating humanity's collapse with fireworks and parades. It showed the silence, and then it showed the return. Ships rising from black space stations, shattered with no sound. Justice, not chaos. Calculated, surgical, intentional. Then Mason's face returned. We did not return for war. We returned for memory. To remind this galaxy that we were never yours to bury. In the great halls of the Threx Empire, generals threw down their medals. In the domed cities of the Vena systems, children cried as their parents stood at attention, hand over heart, facing the stars. On backwater moons, people who had once traded in human relics now burned them, not in anger, but in shame. Mason continued. You thought evolution was technology, it's faster engines, stronger weapons, but you were wrong. Evolution is remembrance, unity, control of self, control of future. A diagram appeared. It showed the last dawn. Protocol, the uploading of human minds, the forging of the 10,000 ships, the merging of thought and will across light years, the growth of the post-Earth, species still human, but beyond. Any limits the galaxy had seen before? You feared our passion, he said. You feared our speed. But now, you must face what we've become. Echo's voice replaced him next. She did not raise her tone. She didn't have to. We are not here to rule. We do not want your planets, your systems, or your wars. Pause. But if you come for us again, there will be nothing left to return to. Then a silence. No threats. No weapons fired. Just one final act, in full view of the galaxy. The 10,000 ships appeared, above every capital world, above every military station, above every system that had once taken part in the Great Forgetting. Each ship hovered without firing. They did not move. They did not speak. But their presence was thunder. Each one carried millions of lives, some in flesh, some in code, some in both. Each one was a reminder of Earth, of what was lost, of what had survived. In the council chamber, what remained of. And Nithal stood alone. He watched through the skylight as a shadow passed over the city. Vengeance. Prime had come, not to attack, to deliver a single pod landed in the city square. Inside was a monument, tall, smooth, silent. At its base were 4 words etched in ancient earth tongue. Memory is our weapon. Nithal approached it slowly as he did. A figure formed beside him, a projection of Echo. You were one of the few who listened, she said. You spoke when others stayed quiet. Nithal swallowed. Will you leave us in peace now? We will leave, Echo said. But peace must be earned, not given. What happens now? She turned her gaze to the stars. Now you remember. And if you forget again, we will remind you. Then she was gone. Across the galaxy, the ships began to vanish. One by one, not into hyperspace. They simply faded, blending with the dark between stars. Hidden once more, they had made their point. Earth had never been dead. Earth had never been broken. Earth had waited, and when the time was right, Earth had risen not to conquer it, but to remind. The galaxy stood still for hours after the message ended. Billions stayed silent, unsure what to say, what to think. On every planet, every moon, one phrase remained burned into every screen, floating in the air like the hum of truth. They said humans were gone, then 10,000 ships proved them wrong. And somewhere far beyond the edge of known space, deep inside the veil, the human fleet gathered once more. The Last Dawn Protocol had completed its mission. Now, humanity returned to the shadows not because they were afraid, but because they no longer needed to be seen to be known. The stars would always remember, because now, forgetting Earth was no longer an option. And in the darkness, the AI whispered, to the void once more, awaiting next memory cycle. Until they forget again, till we return again.